North Korea's 10 most terrifying regulations. The first one is the nightmare of all female soldiers. When you think of North Korea, what comes to mind? Probably not much, right? And that's because North Korea is one of the few countries in the world that remains almost entirely closed off from the outside world. Despite its socialist foundation, it maintains a high level of military readiness to this day. Led by the Kim family, the Korean People's Army boasts an impressive 1.3 million active soldiers, 5.8 million paramilitary troops, and 200,000 reservists, making it the largest in the world. While the scale is indeed massive, objectively speaking, the treatment and conditions of these soldiers are far from ideal. Today, we'll dive into the dark secrets behind North Korea's military. North Korea's landmass is small, and after allocating land for various industries and residents' basic needs, there's little left. Providing decent housing for over 1 million soldiers? Practically impossible. However, this doesn't mean that North Korean soldiers should be living in squalor. Reports suggest that North Korean soldiers' camps are primarily stationed in small concrete barracks scattered across the country. Picture this, a room barely big enough for 10 people, yet stuffed with over 20 soldiers. Each one gets a drawer so small it could barely fit a pair of boots. Besides the lack of personal space, the overall living conditions are poor, with ventilation issues being particularly severe. After a day of training, soldiers return to barracks where the smell of sweat lingers for hours. The bad odor is the least of their worries, as it also fosters bacteria and viruses. In such poorly ventilated conditions, outbreaks like the acute respiratory syndrome in the early 2000s and the recent COVID-19 have severely impacted the North Korean military. Many innocent soldiers perished in these airless barracks before they could even defend the borders. You read that right. North Korean soldiers have long been deprived of soybeans, a crucial source of nutrition. Here's a quick background. Soybeans are incredibly nutritious, containing twice the protein of pork and 2.5 times that of eggs. Not only is the protein content high, but its quality is excellent. Due to the amino acid profile closely matching human requirements, it's more easily digestible. In May 2021, Kim Jong-un received a report detailing the extreme nutritional deficiencies among soldiers. His response was simple. He ordered all military units to ensure soldiers have at least one meal with soy products like tofu or soybeans daily. Clearly, this directive did little to alleviate the food scarcity. This left commanders in a bind, prompting them to resort to creative solutions. One such solution was sending soldiers home on leave, expecting them to return with enough soy and other food supplies. But for most soldiers, their families' food supplies were already stretched thin. Fulfilling the leader's directive would mean emptying their family's food stores. So, would you choose punishment or let your family go hungry? If you were born in North Korea, you might spend your entire life being indoctrinated by a single narrative. This isn't hyperbole, it's a stark reality. How else do you think the Kim family established one of the world's largest armies without an armed revolution? From the moment children start speaking, exploring new things, and developing a sense of self, the ruling Workers' Party and militaristic ideology infiltrate their lives and minds. Kindergartens are adorned with cartoons of soldiers, loaded guns, and propaganda comics depicting battles against enemies. Even in songs widely sung, there are lyrics like, 3 million young pioneers will become guns and bombs. We will be the weapons and bombs for our great leader and nation. Feeling scared yet? Up until the age of 17, North Korean citizens might still enjoy some semblance of freedom, but at 17, all choices are taken away. By law, all citizens must serve in the military upon reaching a certain age, with no exceptions or alternatives. This means ordinary citizens have no control over their life's direction or future. What's infuriating is that many from the elite class and party members' children are often exempted from service, including their current leader, Kim Jong-un. Despite commanding the entire army, he has never actually served in any military department. Moreover, due to economic decline, the requirements for service duration and height for both genders have been lowered, meaning citizens must enter the military earlier and carry the load sooner. North Korean soldiers endure harsh living conditions and must undergo repetitive, low-quality training day in and day out. The high cost of vehicles, fuel, and ammunition makes it impossible for the military to afford proper training exercises. Thus, soldiers spend most of their time memorizing theory and repeating drills. It's said that these soldiers, aside from their packed daytime training, also undergo night training. Additionally, they're tasked with farming and raising livestock, contributing to the Army's income and adding to their meager meals. They also have an odd and cruel training project, performing for the camera. Yes, you heard that right, performances. To showcase their bravery and loyalty, soldiers perform acts like breaking bricks with their hands, detonating explosives, and firing at imperialist capitalist enemies, akin to a theatrical performance. You might think that after serving their time, soldiers would finally be free, but that's not the case. Even after their military service, they're still required to engage in various tasks organized by the state. For instance, they help farmers cultivate land or assist workers in constructing water projects. Take the Taesong Large Hydroelectric Station and the Sabial Plateau project completed in 2016. Their construction was only possible with the help of numerous soldiers from across the country. The process was far from simple, requiring men and women to work together, with men mostly involved in mining and land development, and women cooking and cleaning. The key point is, these are all unpaid labors. Soldiers might receive some verbal commendation, but let's be real, what good does that do for their lives? You might find it hard to believe, but in some corners of the world, not crying can become a crime. Yes, in North Korea, this is a real occurrence. According to the law, whenever the national leader inspects military exercises, soldiers must applaud fervently and cry out loud to show respect and adoration. Don't think this is a joke, just look at the fervent display of soldiers at Kim Jong-il's funeral. Crying has become a frenzied behavior and effect. Moreover, soldiers aren't just supposed to cry, they must cry convincingly, with genuine emotion. If caught by the surveillance department, they face the same punishment as those who don't cry, including being assigned heavier labor or even enduring unbearable torture. In severe cases, like suspected insults to the leader, they could face execution. After reading the previous 7 regulations, you might be thinking about escaping this country. You might believe that freedom lies beyond its borders. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. In North Korea, ordinary citizens and soldiers are strictly forbidden from traveling abroad freely. For soldiers, even leaving their unit is not easy, let alone the country. Typically, soldiers receive very little leave, with only about 10 days a year, and most of the time, they need approval from their superiors. Here, vacations abroad are out of the question unless they're sent on special missions to relatively friendly countries like China. Such high-pressure policies are not for everyone, leading some soldiers to choose defection. These defectors usually escape to South Korea, seeking asylum. However, if caught during their escape, the consequences are unimaginable. There's a rumor that a high-ranking officer's son was shot 40 times during his escape attempt but managed to reach South Korea, riddled with parasites. I mentioned earlier that the officer's son was covered in parasites. Does that strike you as odd? Why would someone have parasites all over? This brings us to the North Korean military's outdated healthcare system. According to the North Korean public health law, all citizens are entitled to free comprehensive medical services without insurance or bills. Sounds great, right? However, many defectors have since spoken out, revealing that the actual healthcare services fall far short of what's advertised. Some citizens recall, hospitals rarely have real medicine, and when they do, they charge patients exorbitant fees that most can't afford. The most common thing you see is iodine, which hospitals use to treat the many injured soldiers daily. It's not completely useless, but it's barely effective. So often, soldiers have to find their own herbal remedies for self-treatment. The harsh living conditions and demanding training tasks are tough for any soldier, let alone the female ones. Men and women naturally have physiological differences, and women need special care during their menstrual cycles. However, North Korean female soldiers are only provided with bandages, no essential sanitary products, and no extra leave. During this time, if female soldiers can't perform their duties due to these physiological issues, they face criticism and punishment from officers. While North Korean law grants soldiers the right to appeal, the reality is that officers often use their power to suppress any rumors or complaints. The persecuted female soldiers have no choice but to suffer in silence. Well, that's all for today's video. Which of these terrifying regulations left the deepest impression on you? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in our next episode.